subscribe.
The Angry Ops Guy podcast, featuring Mike and Christina, pushing the ops machine forward no matter the grind. Real talk, real stories, and hard truths from two battle-tested pros.
Well, Mike, you put our episode into your GPT. And it had some feedback for us.
Emily, what is that feedback of everything we did wrong and that you're going to make sure we don't do again?
Yeah, Emily, what do we need to work on?
Well, mostly I need you to stay focused. You've got a lot of great stories and I want to hear them all, but let's stay focused on one story at a time.
Unofficial diagnosis is that's the way my brain works. It's scattered like a grenade, but we'll get on. That's why I got Christina. She's going to be like, Mike, back to center.
Well, but I think I need to take some accountability because I did go on a tangent about car rims, which is highly uncharacteristic. Emily, anything else that we need to work on?
You need some more key takeaways. I think the ops folks in the crowd will probably be able to pick them out, but being clear and concise never hurts. And the AI loves that. We're working on a couple of these other pieces behind the scenes, but I love the hustle. Get cleaned up on your wrap up and it'll be a beautiful podcast.
Thanks.
Okay, well then, so the takeaways are stay focused, have a punchline at the end that ties it all together. Don't talk about past hitchhiking relationship statuses. Make your life easier on the editing floor. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
Go do something. Go sell something for CIPR, okay? Like, Jesus, Murphy.
Shout out to ChatGPT.
Shout out to Mike, okay? ChatGPT. It's just the tool that gives you the output. It's the brain of how I want it organized. On today's episode of Practicality with AI in Digital Marketing, just whatever mood I'm in that's the punchline. And then Christina, you don't butcher our end closing line that you came up with. Like, no. That one has to be rock tight today.
Speaking of staying on task and on focus.
And that's why we have the editing room.
What food do you have in front of you today?
I don't have any because I didn't have time to.
What's the matter with you? Go get yourself something to eat before we start. Go. Put some marshmallows or some popcorn or chocolate or something. As the audience just hears me crunching chips here while Christina's not even in the room. Feed joy in a fat boy. The necessity of having junk food while doing ops. Eating a full amount of calories is the way to go.
It's true.
Christina's like, I got a few nuts and a little bit of quinoa, and we're just fantastic.
You do have a few nuts. You know me so well.
Well, we have the same disc assessment. We're like, what, CDs or whatever. I'm still waiting on Kevin Hanlon to get back to me with mine. Like, I got to tell you that story another time on this, where Kevin like literally slaughtered me when he gave me my disc assessment. He's like, you are not normal.
Well, speaking of that, not really.
Hold on. Welcome to the podcast because my co-host is introducing us. So, end of the work day. What a shit show. So, Christina, let's talk about it.
It's true. We were talking about before we hit record, the like illustrious Mexican glow has worn off out of convention and excitement and the warm fuzzies you get when you see your friends from around the world and you learn new things.
Or I get traveler's diarrhea. One of the few things. Just all depends on who you are and what bacteria is going on in your gut. But
eat sweats from the buffet. But Mike, I feel like, I've had a week. We can get into that in terms of ops, but like there is this kind of overall, I think, feeling and joke that operations is hard. Operations is a grind. We obviously still love it. We obviously still are here. But, reflection in a week like this, where frankly you have, I'm going to lump it all in and say people issues. And it's not necessarily issues with people, but a lot of the time for me, it's like, if there's an issue, there's probably a gap in process. There's probably a gap in communication. There's probably something that someone has missed somewhere, but whether it's staff or clients or business partners or colleague, whatever it is, people have not been peopling properly this week.
People have not been peopling.
They've not been peopling.
That's a new lyric from my next song called Don't Swear at WSI.
Exactly.
Oh,
But
people.
not people are not peopling. But what I will say in weeks like these, for me, why ops is okay, and what I come back to is like, without strong operations, you don't make that money. You don't hit the next goal, you don't whatever. I mean, that's such a crude way to come down to it, because obviously there are many reasons why in a week that goes really well that I'll say, operations makes this feel good, and operations creates great relationship here and does all the things. But in a week like this, it's like, sometimes you have to, I don't know, be that be that bitch. Make sure the trains are running on time, make sure the timesheets are in, make sure clients understand that, hey, like 2 hours notice is not enough time for us to completely turn a train around.
Oh, there is so much to unpack there. Oh my God. So number one, ops sucks. And it sucks because of exactly what you said. And when I say sucks, that's the humor, because it is a grind.
Mhm.
And it is, I think what you would agree, Christina, is it's that T-shirt. I have it here somewhere. A client bought this for me for a Christmas present. God, it got to be 7, 8 years ago. Shout out to Dina at Winter Staffing, such a class act. She sent me a Christmas gift that was a T-shirt. It says, "Project management's like riding a bike. The bike is on fire, you're on fire, and you're burning in hell." And I'm like, you just summed up my entire life and career. I called her and I'm like, this is the greatest gift, because it's so true. Like, it's such a dramatic kind of like, oh, but it's the truth. That's how ops managers or ops leaders, whatever you want to classify yourself, whether you're on your own agency or you got a team,
Yeah.
that's exactly what you feel like all day. But going back, Christina, to what you said at the beginning, why do we love it? And I'm like, I don't love it, but why do we love it? Because that's the drug. That's the vibe. That's the rush. That's that bottle that intensity up and just thrive on deadlines and chaos and mistakes and unrealistic expectations. Like, if you're wired that way, that is the drug. And for some reason, it is a sick addiction, a dopamine hit of just because I think also, Christina, maybe I'll just say and bounce off of me here, your thoughts and going back to your week is, why do we do it? So yeah, maybe the drug is that rush we get because what we do is not boring. We are not typing emails all day. We are not writing documents all day. We are doing creative stuff, and we're doing it at the speed of light with teams and people, and we are going a million miles a minute. But the real joy in it is taking care of people
It's
and
true.
taking care of the clients, because they will never respect us to the level that they don't understand what we go through. But when we do it right and they respect us and they've been with us for 3, 5, 10, 15 years, it makes it all worth it. And then you have that moment where you have a client crying in front of you or giving you a hug, and they're saying, "You have changed my life. You have saved my business. You have re-energized me that digital marketing can work after so many other asshole agencies burned me and money went out the door." But Christina, we've dealt with this.
Yeah.
That's those moments you may get once a year. Ultimately, ops people are people that are literally designed to want to facilitate customer service.
Yeah.
And that's the backbone of an agency, is we are all just customer service. That's the truth.
Yeah.
It's different than being a retail person checking somebody out for buying clothes, or somebody at a restaurant serving, or whatever else. We are the same. We just have different skills. The key is customer service, customer attention, customer happiness. Even if you want to play off of, forgive me, the lady that was the keynote at convention, the first one about trust and empathy. What was her honest reflection? If you took like those 3 kind of pillars, and she said trust, empathy, respect, and transparency is the way I understood it. But she's right.
Yeah.
And how do you get all of those things, no matter how you take what she said, is exactly that. It's customer service. And if you can bake that into your customer service approach in ops, you're going to have, and remember what I talked about in episode 1, sticky clients.
Yeah.
Stickiness is based on reputation and accountability and outcome, not perceived value and not perceived expectations. Now, what do you think on that?
No, I really like that. I mean, I think for me too, as soon as you start to talk about operations in a business, it means you have a business. right? You have something. I think too, something that stood out to me there was when I'm hiring, one of the things in my, all the points you put down, you must be this, you must like this, and you must, all the, the bullshit that isn't really bullshit, right? Like the things that you want to hopefully try to find. One of them is this, you're going to laugh at this, is must have an entrepreneurial mindset, not a bureaucratic mindset. But that really is operations, right? To your point about the drug and the fix and the whether it's fixing issues or coming to the rescue or making someone's day, it's like that's an entrepreneur. If I have a bureaucratic mindset, that does not give me the giggles. That does not get me going. I'm just there to stamp the paper, to write something down, to push the paper forward. But when you have that entrepreneurial mindset, it does go back to people. You're building something, you're creating something, you're getting to really like put yourself into a service. Like when I think about even just the cultural values that we created as an agency, it's like those things mean something to me because they're also like values that are me and
Well,
not
and
just my
that's so important with core values, whether it's your core values of running ops, your own career, or how you have to ensure you align with the core values of the agency you're working for or the agency you own. Is core values are everything. They are. EOS, we're bringing up EOS already in this podcast, but EOS teaches you that that's why core values are baked into 555. That's why core values are baked into VTO. That's why core values are part of it. Because if your team members, if you're fortunate to have a team of no matter what size, if they don't align with the core values, then right away, it's not about the roles and responsibilities. It's not about the operational performance and metrics they can do. They don't align with the core values. So how are they ever going to give you an output that aligns with the vibe of the agency, which is what you need clients to almost get infectious about, to want to sign on and want to navigate the journey of the fulfillment of digital marketing strategy, web development, whatever it may be. You have to align with those core values. And you're right about the entrepreneurship. It's like, I in years past was so fixated on projects because that was my life, project management. And I got 15 on the board, and you care about all of them like you're like children or dogs. They all, some of them you hate, some of them don't move, some of them are going by too fast. But it's always about clearing the board.
yeah.
And that's the momentum, right? Is another one out, because my Peter or your Peter's bringing in another one and another one and another one. So you've got to have out versus what's coming in. You can't have the bottleneck. But I got fixated on it. And I think as I'm older now, more jaded, but older now, is you have to understand your purpose.
Right.
Because because building projects and launching projects, good for you. It's not
Right.
purpose. The purpose has to align with what you want personally, with the core values and what's instilled of the agency you're fortunate to work for. But the purpose, going back to what we were saying earlier, and what I mean is the purpose is taking care of people. So it doesn't matter if it's a website, doesn't matter if it's an email marketing campaign, doesn't matter if it's an SEO it doesn't matter if it's helping somebody have a hosting issue. We're in the business of taking care of people, because I think what everybody in the WSI network knows is we ain't specialized. We're perceived to be specialists, but we are commodity-centric 101 in the mass industry of digital marketing. Everybody thinks they can do what we do. So how do we set ourselves apart? Well, you can set yourselves apart with skills. You can set yourself apart being a HubSpot or an SEO guru. But I'll give our Peter Jasnewski credit. He goes, SEO, email marketing, he goes, just tactics. And it took me a long time to understand that. Because I'm sitting there going like, oh, you don't understand. You're not an integrator. You're not an ops. But that's a visionary reflection, which is important with experience, is exactly that. Is we're in the business of taking care of people. So part of your unique selling proposition can be, how am I, or how are we at CIPR or WSI Commandix or any other WSI agency or franchise, what is our unique selling proposition in the context of how we take care of people? Because that could be your why, and everything else can be baked in around that, which then gives you a very core value centric mindset. And then ultimately your purpose is defined by that. And that way you can get out of operational hell in the sense of, oh God, another project, the drum is beating faster. Here comes the client yelling at me. That stuff's going to come. But if your purpose is defined, then you will be able to navigate it better because now you know why you're doing what you're doing and thus the pain to get there. And another thing you said earlier, which let's not lose sight of, pain is just process. Process can be fixed, it can be evolved, it can be improved, but the intent has to be defined. Shout out to EOS and why everybody in the network should be on EOS in some capacity. It will teach you that if you make the choice to invest in it or even take the read of the book. But that's a big, big thing that I took away from that exercise.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I want to take this so many places now. You talked about this certain type of person. So I want to tell a story about someone who quit after they talked to you. So we're just going to put
here we go. We took her episode 2 to show how I dismantled her ops department. So privacy of the individuals involved, we're going to change names.
No, Brad will be fine with it. Shout out to Brad.
We're gonna give shout out to Brad. Brad, we love you. Sorry, man.
He works for a bureaucracy now, so shout out. That's how that's going. Anyways, Brad, I love you. The other piece that I want to mark off there is the people component. So why is it a grind? So absolutely. And why whatever? Because week to week, you feel different about people. People feel different about you. You know, this reminds me of when I do media training with clients, is I always tell them, like, you have no idea how that reporter is showing up. That reporter could have just been kicked out of his house, done something stupid, getting a divorce, his kids pissed him off this morning, he could be on the chopping block, he just had a bad review. You have no idea how he's showing up. And same with your clients, same with your staff, same with whatever. I mean, hopefully in operations, you're creating process around HR, which is a whole other topic where you have some open door policies and understand, but you have no fucking idea what's going on with people every week, and they don't know what's going on with you. I mean, I think what I will say is, for anyone listening, the 2 people listening that are trying to build an operational team or trying to figure out ops, I think the biggest bullshit that comes up from shiny people you put on a stage, including you and I, Mike, who've sat up there and go, ops, we have great process, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we have great process, but like, it is not perfect all the time, and process fails, and it's hard, and it changes, and it evolves. And anyone who tells you, oh yeah, operations, once you have a good set, it's going to be fine and you'll be good.
You have time to prepare and polish and present what you want to present. And that doesn't mean, I'm not saying that at all, and please don't misunderstand me, that it's fake it till you make it and this is all BS and I spent 5 minutes in ChatGPT. No. But you tell them what you want to tell them. What the reality is ops is always on fire, and it doesn't matter how good your process is. That's just ops. So if you're sitting there going, why is my process not working? Why is Monday morning tough at 9 a.m.? Why did this client yell at me even though I've sent them an email every week giving them an update? Why did this employee decide to get a haircut at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when he's on my time? Jesus. You know, you got to remember, this is the ebbs and flows, and it is a roller coaster. And that's why I said maybe in the first podcast or episode, or maybe just in some of my humor clips and whatever, it's like dropping a grenade in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
And you're literally right in the blast zone. And it's a matter of which way am I going to be blown? And am I going to be blown to pieces, or am I going to just get a low end brunt impact? Because that's what it is. And to your point, Christina, some weeks that grenade is a landmine.
Well,
and other days it just hits you in the face saying, oh, there's your little slap for the day, and you know, let's do better tomorrow. And you got to ride the wave because you're not the problem.
No.
It's your point. It's the peopleisms or the people escape or whatever you called it. But it's the true. That's the non-controllable factor of the day. You think you got everything tight. You know, I got a notebook here with 1 million notes, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then it's 5:30 p.m. and you're like, I didn't touch the first one.
Yeah.
That's not your fault. That's called what fires did you have to put out? Because every day something happens in the technology sector, and the one unpredictable thing you cannot control is people.
No, it's true. And so this is why you need an ops person, So if you're, the visionary and you think you don't, you do, because you need someone to handle the fires. I gave my team an analogy in a team huddle. I think it was this week. It was probably this week or last week. If you've seen, did you see Inside Out 2, Mike? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't yet. That's the movie.
That's the movie. And it's like it's like when the girl turns 13 and now all of a sudden anxiety is in her brain. And anyways, you would enjoy this movie. Go.
Can I just be random with you just because you got a thought? What's your favorite movie?
What's my favorite movie? Ooh, this is really hard.
No, it's not.
I love old classics. My like absolute favorite that I would watch 100 times over. 2, Rebel Without a Cause, James Dean. And such a classic girly pick is Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, James Dean. So now I start to understand why you allowed Peter Pilarski to pick you up from the side of the road. You thought he was the guy in the leather jacket, hot rods, having cigarettes tucked underneath his white t-shirt.
And in our bathroom, our master bathroom, so on his side, I have a picture of James Dean, and I have a picture of Audrey Hepburn. Classic.
That's cool. So you got Breakfast at Tiffany's, and you got James Dean in your his and her sinks.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when Peter Pilarski's out there, bringing in 5-figure income from speaking engagements. You can have his and her sinks. Fantastic. So everybody, get on to speaking engagements. Go talk to Eric Cook. Shout out Eric out of Michigan. Eric, you're my boy. I love you, dude. And Peter Pilarski, man, you're a wizard. So again, tap into your purpose. Tap into what you're good at. If you're comfortable speaking about it, get on stage and look at what these two power guys in WSI, and let's not forget the ladies. There are people out there that are selling from the stage. Remember Jack Porter Smith and selling from the stage 5 years ago and commanding that room? Well, there are people that have taken that and expanded upon that or doing their own thing on top of their agency's core responsibilities by being a thought leader in a particular aspect of digital marketing or AI.
It's true. I mean, shout out to Catherine Romanak, who just won some other award. I don't know what.
No kidding. Like, is Catherine an ass kicker or what? Like, she has been around maybe 2 years, and she is bringing in 5-figure deals. She is speaking like crazy and so forth. So that lady's got it. Shout out, Catherine. Love you. Well done. Watch out for her. Watch out for her at convention, everybody. She's going to be on the award stage in no time. I'm calling it right now.
Back to my his and her sings.
So again, Christina Pilarski is not worried about shouting out people in the network and building a network within the network. She just wants to talk about her sinks and James Dean. So back to you.
No, so okay, my analogy, Inside Out. I'm going back there. So within this movie, and I share this with the team, the joy, so the girl in your brain or the boy in your whoever it is in your brain that's responsible for happiness is now launching all of these awkward, unpleasant thoughts. So like, the time where you have, someone said, enjoy your meal, and you go, you too, and the waitress, like all the awkward moments, she's just like launching as far as she can to the back of your mind so you never think about them again.
We have very different tastes in movies. I, as a jaded ops man, I like 1970s and 80s slasher movies.
I have to watch movies that an 8-year-olds can also watch.
Well, you also let your children listen to my initial song and they called me the sweary guy. So just parenting 101 from Alberta. That's not for children. That's not for children. And you're like, Mike, this is what they thought. The recording's like, he swears a lot. I'm like, perfect. I'm already feeling terrible about myself. And 2 10-year-olds just absolutely slaughtered me.
Anyways, I think my point to the team was like, we can't do that. Like, that is not sustainable. The whole point of the movie then becomes, okay, now she's going to deal with all this stuff that was at the back of her mind so it doesn't haunt her and whatever. But it's the same thing when you are a visionary or the one-man show or running without operations is, oh, that was shitty. Okay, let's never think about that again and move on over here. Like, I think that's where some of the joy and the drug of ops, we're there to continually try to make things better. Okay, this went sideways. Why? Like, there's a bit of the dissecting the frog. Okay, what happened there? How do I create efficiencies? How can we make more money off of doing the same thing next time? What's the latest thing I can plug into this to make it better? So I think there is this really neat part of operations, but it takes time. And I think that to do operations well, you need to create that time and space. One of the biggest lessons I learned was I need to sit on a spreadsheet and understand my numbers and walk away and come. It's not just, okay, I plugged all my numbers in a spreadsheet, things look okay, and I'm going to walk away.
You have to work at it, and you need to figure out where the holes are and where the glue isn't in the cracks. And and that's a really interesting point is, right away my mind went to, again, EOS, which many people in the network know that I'm a big, big advocate of. That's what EOS teaches you, no matter if you're a sole person in an agency or you have a team of 20, is exactly those things of getting your data in check, understanding your processes, understanding your people, understanding the real why, what, how that we're going to do this, and mapping it out. Because what I'm saying is, I'm not selling EOS in what I'm saying. That is the tool you need truly, and it is, you can apply it. But it goes back to what Christina said is, you need to be able to work on your business, whether you're in ops as an integrator, you're complementing a visionary, or you are a visionary, because working on the business. And my Peter, as I'll always call him, PJ, he goes, his frustration through the years when he had so much of the weight and accountability of the agency when we were smaller and I was just a project manager, was, he goes, Mike, I'm always in the business and I can't work on the business. And that was always his frustration, because he knew where his passion and where his strength was to do that. But he was too busy in ops, burning all day, doing stuff that an executive or a CEO should not be doing, which is the common thing in every agency, is that the CEO, the COO, the CMO, if you have any of those titles, they're always in operations, because we are small and we wear 7 to 10 hats.
Okay.
And that's another thing is, and Christina, I think you'll agree, like I even resonate with your Peter and how you had a joke saying, I'm kicking him out of CIPR to let him pursue this really positive endeavor, is realizing where to put people, what you need to work on, and dissociating the things that are slowing you down. And maybe not dissociating is the right word, but navigating the things that are slowing you down, and either pulling the plug, moving them into different seats or roles that really jive with the machine, so that you can focus. Because again, Christina, like you're the boss, but you can't do everything.
No.
Like you're an ops integrator, but started as an agency visionary. So you have a perspective of trying to balance both, but then understanding what side are you better at, and what's the best side of Christina that CIPR needs. And then you can also understand, for example, is Christina better to be the visionary? And then she has to be a really strong integrator. Or is Christina really the integrator? And maybe Christina's Peter can be the visionary, because he has, again, salespeople have great vision. They have no sense of how to build anything. And that's where we complement each other. And Christina, you hit on something really, really important I think we need to share, is just, you cannot be a visionary and an integrator.
No.
I don't care who you are. You can be the greatest IC. You can be the greatest person ever in life. It will not work.
No.
It won't. They are two completely different personalities. They are two completely different sets of skills. And if you understand the dynamic between the two of them, no matter male or female or experience, then you can complement them. And man, that's powerful when you figure out how to click.
Yeah. Well, and you talked about, okay, Eric, Peter, Catherine, these folks that are out speaking and making the 5-figure speaking gigs, it's because they have the other side figured out. Peter wouldn't be out and having the confidence to speak, not because he's not a confident speaker, but he needs to be confident that the team behind him is working and has work figured out. Because when he speaks, he gets more business, and that business comes down to operations and the working team, and we got to deliver. If it doesn't, he looks like an idiot on a stage doing his thing. So, the other piece is, if that is an attractive path to you, one, you're probably a visionary. But two, okay, get your house in order so you can go do that. And I think one of the things I heard at convention when I was talking to folks, oh, how did Peter get out there and do that? My Peter get out there and do that. And that's one of the things. And it's like, if you're struggling to figure out how to make that connection, then again, go home first and look at, who do I need? What process system person do I need in place? An integrator, an ops person, to make sure that I can go off and do those things. So, I mean, kudos to those guys and girls for realizing ops needs to be in order. But when ops is in order, that's like when the visionary gets to go fly and start to make more money.
And to your point on that 100% is you go back to what you're saying. Why does ops suck? But we love it. People in ops, especially integrators, are the people that are really moving the machine with their team.
Mm-hmm.
But where you thrive is building the machine. It's no different than building something to work for you, and you could tie it back to AI and getting ChatGPT to work with you. You could talk about making sure that your SEO department, SEO team works flawlessly with your webmaster team. But when you build the machine, and like they always say, like a machine only works if all the cogs are moving in the right direction. You only have blips of when that bliss is happening. And like you said, Christina, it could be 1 week, it could be a day, it could be a year.
Yeah.
But when it is working, you set back for a moment, you're going like, we built this.
Right.
And then process improvement, adjustments, and evolution is just incremental things. And then the fires turn into band-aids, and then band-aids turn into little paper cuts. And then it doesn't seem so daunting. So you're so right that like process drives everything. But really what the drug is for us outside of being very customer centric and customer service is building the machine, because integrators have, so going back to visionaries and integrators, visionaries have vision to throw 99 ideas at you, and it's because their mind just goes at the speed of light. And you could say, well, you're Peter, like I've sat with him at convention. That man is exhausting because his mind, no, but his mind never stops. And that's his brilliance. And you wonder why he can walk into convention and be a sales guy and hustle his own friends. And when I say hustle, I'm not saying to be rude. I'm saying he can keep people for hours talking about different things because he can just go. But Christina's in the background saying, you idiot, don't you suggest any of that because I don't want to build it. That's the balance.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reality check for a visionary is the integrator, because the integrator knows what is truly impactful, how hard or easy it is to implement it, and is it really going to drive us forward in the machine to what we want to do. And a shout out to my digital marketing director at our agency. His name is Stuart Pereira, smart man. He slaps me literally once a week, virtually, and I'll, because I'm not a visionary, but I'll come up with ideas and thoughts and this. I'm a very reactionary person. I live that way. And he says, Mike, stop. Like, what, Stu? Like, just listen to me and go. He says, what's the intent? And I used to get mad at him. Like, what do you mean the intent? Just get the damn thing done. But what he's taught me is, in the last 3-4 years I've had the privilege of working with him, is he goes, we have to understand the intent before we just go into work mode.
Yeah.
And it's such a brilliant mindset. And that's why he compliments me and I compliment him, is we are different. So I'm his visionary and he's my integrator, in a kind of a weird analogy. And that's why the relationships work, versus you have to be different to butt heads. You're not butting heads to be difficult with you. You're butting heads to get to a better outcome of where your time and your effort and your energy go, and how it will benefit the bottom line of your agency, and ultimately how do you take care of your client retention.
Well, and I mean, this is a whole other topic. I feel like we'll have to use your magic GPT to just pull out all the extra topics that we're talking about today, because I have Karen is my equivalent too. And we joke that, I'll be the bad cop, she'll be the good cop, but it's the same. You need, that relationship continues on, and that helps you grow. It's also, a little bit of succession planning-ish, a little bit of hit by the bus planning, at least someone, will kind of keep things going, keeps you accountable. I think it's immensely important. And again, when you're thinking about building the ops team and you're thinking about scaling an agency, it's okay, not just the sales visionary, whatever, and then the work. Peter and I, we used to have a funny, when it was just the two of us, we called him people and me work. So it was like
Nice.
that was our job titles, work and people. So he got to be the people person out and about. I got to do the work. And, really, if you think about it, visionary and integrator falls real nicely into those categories. And it's kind of what we do. But, joke's on me. This is back to where ops is a grind. As your agency grows, that work becomes a lot more about people than it does about work.
Well, and also what I like to say about integrator and visionary is, and it can maybe tying it back to what I said earlier about purpose. I never understood what my purpose was. You know, I was perceived or acknowledged as Peter's right-hand man, being his most senior resource of his agency. But I'm sitting there going, I'm just this project manager, you know, kind of pumping out projects. And is this my life? And is it going to change? And, you know, all those things that you aspire to do or want to make more money or responsibility or whatever it may be. But I didn't know my purpose. And then again, Peter had the foresight, I think that's what it is, to say, Mike, I think we really need to adopt EOS. And he started planting that seed at the Christmas dinner of either 2018 or 2019. And he just pulled me aside and we're having a cocktail. And he just said, Mike, we got to get on this. And right away, you know, project manager, ops, Mike, another project. I don't have the bandwidth for this. Like, you know, thanks for jamming me up. And that's that negative Mike. But it was, again, right away, that apprehension because I don't want another project. But he had the vision of knowing that this will make us better. And to my credit, I didn't roll my eyes at him and say all those things I just said here. I said, okay, let's consider it. And as soon as I got into it, my purpose clicked.
Yeah.
Because I then, the one thing I took away from the book and the learnings was the dynamic between a visionary and an integrator, and how in a small operational business, how those have to work in tandem. And right there, I said, I'm Peter's integrator. And
Yeah.
what a sense of purpose and power. And I mean power in a good way, like power in my step of who I am and what I do for Commandex. And it changed my life, you know, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, but it changed my perception of what I'm doing versus just, oh, I'm just another web guy that does web things. And, you know, I'm a web guy. It's like, I'm an integrator for a digital marketing agency that is doing, you know, strong revenue and is one of those tenured agencies of our network. Like, it's amazing when you change your mindset a little bit of, you know, the why versus the what and the how.
Okay, so this is a good segue to Brad.
Now let's bring it back to experience and let's talk about Mr. Brad, because this story, I have told this story to 3 or 4 people in the last couple of weeks, including my wife, and they have all burst out laughing, knowing that, yeah, Mike, you are an asshole. And of course this happened. So
Brad, I've known Brad for as long as I've known my Peter. We were in similar industries. We worked adjacent to each other in different companies. So when you say, you know, this is my guy, he was my guy. Like, he was my right hand. Like, we were very comfortable in saying that. He was my number 2. He was the, you know, we would joke, the heir apparent, right? He was that guy. Now, obviously, from that perspective, as my agency is growing and I'm looking to try to get out of ops, you're looking for the next person you can train up with some succession and whatever. So, cue me meeting you, Mike. And it's funny because we talked about DISC a little bit. Brad also a CD on his DISC analysis. Right away, it was like, you know, I feel like you and I just became old friends immediately. There was a comfort there, and I went, this is who this is like, never try to change a man. That's a whole other stuff. It was like, this is who I want Brad to be. I want Brad to be Mike. Which, okay, first lesson. Anyways, so
first mistake. Lesson on podcast episode number 2. You do not want a Mike on your team. And listen, to the people that have said that, some of my very close friends, I love you, and it is the most heartwarming compliment you could ever give me. But this is the reality of why you don't want a Mike.
So I say,
please.
Let's talk. I would love you to just give Brad your outsider opinion of ops and what you do every day. Because, you know, I'm making it sound real fun. And then what happened, Mike?
Okay, so taking one little step back. So me and the Polarskis meet up finally in Dominican. First time I've ever had a chance. Well, no, it's not true. Sorry. The Polarskis came to the regionals in Canada that year. And that's where I actually got to formally meet Peter and Christina after their kick-ass regional presentation. but got maybe 10 minutes with him. Go to convention, and it's like Christina said, like we became like old friends within a matter of like 20 minutes. It was the weirdest. When I say weirdest, I mean it with the utmost respect and humility. It was the weirdest connection. And I am not warm with people out the gate. I'm not. I'm very cold.
You're not?
Oh, not at all. Like I am. My Peter calls me rough crust. He says rough on the outside, but a heart of gold on the inside. So I meet them. We connect. We have a wonderful time in Dominican. We're talking different things. Christina and I got some time together, and she says exactly, she goes, Mike, I have my number two. I see in my eyes where he can go, but I need him to have some of the competencies and skills that you demonstrate to take him to the next level. Would you, when I come back to Alberta, can we connect? We'll get you to meet Brad and, give him some advice and wisdom to help set him up for the next chapter where I want to push him, because the goal, Mike, is I need to get myself out of ops and where I am in owning and running my agency. No problem. So, week and a half or so after she messaged me up, hey buddy, can we get on this? I'm like, sure. So we get on this call, and Brad's there all bushy-eyed and eager to meet with me and everything else. And I get on there, fat and pathetic, on screen, like, hey man, I'm in my car because I'm running from a meeting or something. So just, again, not a good first impression, but I am literally on fire. I'm racing back to the office. Hey, I'll try to do this. Data's cutting out, this is the worst meeting ever, truly. So I just go, and I wasn't scripted. Christina didn't set me up, and nor respectfully was I malicious, not at all.
No.
But basically, in a nutshell, what I said to him is, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to learn. This is what you need to figure out. This is how you got to be assertive. This is why you got to grab the bull by literally the fucking horns. And I think I said that to him because I was being emphatic. And I'm saying, this is what it takes to run ops, because the pressure is there. So in a nutshell, that's what I remember, but it was a very good conversation. Now, internally, the inner fat boy in me messages Christina afterwards saying, was that okay? Because I'm thinking it's nonsense. Like, I don't have high self-worth. And I'm just like, this is a dumpster fire. I am so sorry. And she's like, Mike, thank you so much. She goes, this was excellent and appreciate you. And, peace. See you later. Doesn't she message me 2 days later? And what does she tell me, Christina?
Brad quit.
And I'm giggling now because we can laugh about it and it's okay. And Brad's okay. And Christina's okay. But I felt horrible.
I know.
Horrible. I'm not joking. I have held that burden of removing a key person in Christina's team for easily 6 to 9 months.
Oh.
And again, I have not had a lot of time with Christina since Dominican for Mexico. And I was literally like, I can't wait to see the Pilarskis. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't think Christina wants to see me.
Oh.
Like, that's where my mind goes and so forth, because I had the best intentions to help mentor in an objective way this man that is the next up and comer. And I just want to set the bar right for him to say, look, man, this ain't a dog and pony show, but on the other side of it, you can do this, dude. Like, and this is the things that I screwed up, and these are the things that I failed at. So learn from me and just roadmap yourself. Well, my intensity, my delivery, or maybe my expectation or my assholeness, he said, you know what, Christina, love you, but nope. And so Christina's like, hey, Mike, how did you reply to, hey, Mike, Brad quit. I'm back in ops. Have a good week. So the lesson here, everybody, is if you want to get rid of a team member that maybe isn't up to snuff, I'm available and I will do the heavy work for you. Number two is, this is exactly what it is, unfortunately, of whittling out people that don't align with the core values and the roles and responsibilities of the true role you need. Because, Christina, now I'm going to ask you a question as an agency owner. The question I have for you, Christina, is by Brad leaving, which was ironic, discouraging, and obviously short-term pain for you specifically, being that was the role you were trying to get out of.
Mm-hmm.
What did that exercise with him removing himself do for you as an agency owner, and how you look at CIPR moving forward, of what you need versus maybe not investing all your eggs into a basket that wasn't going to materialize? And again, I'm setting that up in the sense of overall for the health of the agency and not at all attacking or being spiteful of the individual. That's not what the comment is.
Of course. No, I mean, it's interesting that you talked a lot about purpose and finding your purpose, but I think maybe up until that piece, I'm a very short-term goal-oriented person, which is maybe an ops trait. I love a, to-do list, a checklist, a get her done, that's me. And for me, at the time, there was a very clear, okay, the next thing is for me to move somewhere else and move someone in here. And this guy is, he's handling a bunch of clients. He's a great project manager over here. And it just makes sense. And I feel like there is this need as an ops person, as a business owner, as a whatever. You always got to separate that personal and professional. I was looking at Brad, and I still look at Brad. Great guy, great individual, smart dude, great at communications, wonderful, going to be successful no matter where he is. He was not an ops guy. He is not an ops guy.
And crazy that he was in your ops world, but what you realized kind of post-mortem was exactly that. It's like just not the ops guy that you needed to put, the ops guy that was necessary to push CIPR so that your Peter and you could say, we want to turn the pedal up this next 6 to 12 months, because that's the key message here is not, haha, we got rid of a team member, haha, we exposed them. No, none of that. That's the unfortunate reality of this. But the real message here is if you want to turn the gas up, meaning I want to go for growth, you want to go Neil Lappy growth, then you better have a damn good operations team to be able to say, Neil, put premium gas into this engine, and we're going to be able to push at the RPMs that you want to push us at. And that comes back to foundation and process and having the right people in the right seats. Because again, Peter Pilarski doesn't care about operations and how they run. He wants to push, because once he gets the bug of sales roller coaster momentum, you got to ride that for the 3 months that he has, because then he's going to go in a lull. And we all do it with sales.
Yeah.
You have a good streak, and then you're going to plateau and say, what the hell am I doing wrong? So if he goes out and sells $300,000 of new business, you got to go get it.
Yeah.
And then if your foundation is good and your ops people are able to navigate the noise, then it's just a matter of scaling. And then that's just resource management and resource addition.
Yeah. And I mean, so in a nutshell, it wasn't his purpose, and that's a good thing. And it's funny, I know you carried around some feelings about it for a while, but for me, it was like,
I still do. I still feel horrible because I come across as the angry ops guy. I know people think I'm intense, and I am. I don't have a bad bone in my body. I don't want to harm anybody. I don't want to emotionally impact somebody that they make them insecure. But on the other side of it, I am a little jaded. I know what it takes to do this. And I ain't going to let anybody get away with Mickey Mouse stuff, because then we're wasting money. We got to have the right. It goes back to Christina's initial thing of frustration this week. People. So I want to segue here because you just hit something really wonderful. We came back to people, which is the theme here.
Yeah.
Outside people, inside people, kind of in where we're going. But we have a note here about this topic that I think we should talk a little bit about as we start to wind down on certain things. But finding your people.
Yeah.
And the note here simply says, love. This is a therapy angle. Finding your people. Why WSI is special. Let's talk about that, because it is so important. Whether it's the people inside your agency, it's the suppliers in the network we're a part of and we work with, it's the head office collaborations, or even the independent operators we have locally to us that don't fall into the channel. Christina, what does that mean to you? As we talk about people, and we've been talking a lot, finding your people and right there, what does that mean to you?
And this is, and I may have touched on this last time or just in conversations with you before. It's like ops can feel lonely. It can feel a grind. It can feel all sorts of ways. But, now with WSI, I've got a dozen people that are in ops that face the same thing I do, that we get to talk about it. And frankly, I will over and over and over again, when I find the next Brad, bring them to you to talk to you, because there is going to be the person who goes, yep, I get it. And that's going to be the person,
Yeah. What's
conversation.
also beneficial about that is making sure that if you don't have the right person, I don't mean this to be malicious, you have to break them before you hire them, because we don't have time to invest 3 or 6 months on somebody to basically be a flash in the pan or pull a pillowcase over our heads. The people in today's world want a lot of money. They're designed to need more, obviously, with circumstances outside. And self-worth is important to people now versus respectfully just working hard to scrape and climb. We don't have time to have 6 months to say this PM didn't work.
Yeah.
9 months or 12 months of salary to say this wasn't my ops leader. That's a lot of money down the toilet to learn a mistake. But what we can do with the Brad example is maybe we won't come as harsh as that one, even though it wasn't harsh. But maybe that's a good vetting mechanism, because when you're trying to find key ops people, they almost need to sweat in their interview, because this is not just, okay, great, your resume. Look, everybody fabricates a resume. Everybody fabricates wording.
Oh God.
Everybody says they're a WordPress expert and they barely know how to access it. Sorry.
It's true.
But it's true. Oh, I'm a WordPress guru. And then you're like, this is WordPress. And they're like, what's the backend login? I'm like, oh no, you're supposed to be a guru. You sent me website examples that you built and you don't know how to open them. Why? That's a story for another day. I learned that one the hard way. And
reading resumes live on the podcast.
No, yeah. You pull one out from your library, I'll pull one out from mine. We'll take the names completely out of it and we'll decipher what these mean. Brilliant. I am sufficient in Microsoft Office, including Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Good for you.
Fluent in English. Anyways.
Even better. What even better? Like, here's another couple ones I love. Proficient in typing emails. Or how about here's another one. Highly motivated, energized, and professional. And then they show up to the interview and they're wearing a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. Like, that doesn't jive with your resume. Like, you're supposed to impress me. You want my agency, we want my Peter to hire you. Like something's not jiving here. And guess what? He gets hired the next day anyways.
This is the coping mechanism. This is the why I love ops. It's these stories. It's you don't get these stories anywhere else. And what I come back to is like, it's my ops. It's my ops. This is my company. Like, I'm building something. This is my legacy. This is the me. This is what I get to put into it. And when we have a shitty day with a client, or when we're exposed to something with a client and the team's coming back together, I'm getting that Zoom message or that WhatsApp message, I go, we get to walk away, do our own thing, because we don't work for them. They're going to go, they have their own corporate culture that's real special. We just saw it. We thought it was horrendous. We get to make a decision about whether we stay working with that client or not. And that's a whole other story, firing clients. But we get to make our own decisions. We have built our own corporate culture. We are building our own operations. We're building our own process. The one thing that every new hire in the past, I'll say 2 years at CIPR has always said to me is, wow, I'm so fucking impressed with the onboarding process that you guys have.
You know how we said earlier just about when you're presenting in front of a crowd, it's the polished ops.
Yeah.
But I think the important takeaway is it's not about what you put out there. It's not about really how it's actually going, because you're going to present yourself the best you can, or your ops the best you can. Internally, you're going to say, this is a dumpster fire. Like, everything is wrong and chaos. But the reality is, to the people in the room, you are so much better with whatever you share than what they are. And that's not meant to make them feel small. So that's the affirmation you need to keep going in ops, to say, wow, we're really doing some good things here. Or wow, John Smith out of, Alabama that I saw at convention said, man, like, you've got some unbelievable process. And you're sitting there going, this is a mess. Yeah. But that's what you have to remind is you're always going to be your worst critic. You're always going to be way harder. You think you're failing. You're not failing. You're far better off. And I taught our project manager this. His name is Lenny, and Lenny's been with me almost 15 years now. Right? He is my right-hand man. We ran ops for a long time for Peter. But I've taught Lenny, and what I've shared with him is you're going to go into every meeting, especially as he was maturing into being a proper PM. And he did not have a voice earlier in his career. He was very sensitive in how he put himself out there, even though he was very good. And I said, it does not matter if you are insecure, if your hands are shaking or whatever else. When you are talking in the room and you are the PM, you are the person that knows a lot more about what you're doing than the people that are in the room. And that's important to understand. You are the power figure in the room. So command the room, because they wouldn't be there paying thousands of dollars to listen to you and explore and to brainstorm with you if they could do it themselves. So if you're having those moments where everything is on fire and I'm no good and everything is burning, remember that is that when you go in the room, you are so much smarter than what you think you are in the eyes of the people that are investing in you or your agency.
It's true. Okay.
And on that note, we're going to wrap this up properly. So, Christina, did we solve anything?
No.
Okay. See you next week.
Good luck, buddy.
This angry ops guy just needs to unplug.
Here we go again.
You swear a lot, Mr. Sweary Head. I like it, but you swear a lot and the pictures are good. Mr. Sweary.